No, I speak Muslim though. I speak Islam. No, Islam. Arabic. I'm joking. No. Shway.
Well, you're Jewish, you said you're Jewish.
No, I'm atheist.
No, but you can be like ethnically Jewish.
No.
Oh, your friends were then?
Oh, yeah. No.
Well, where are you from originally? You look
I'm half Russian.
Ah, okay.
Half Russian, half English.
Yeah, you look Russian.
Yeah. So I don't have the beard like you yet, but someday it will come.
That's good.
So I wanna talk to Ali Dawud today about Andrew Tate. So you made a few videos about Andrew Tate, about his conversion.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Why do you think he converted?
To be honest, I don't know why he converted. I hope it's that he saw Islam to be the truth. He probably saw it as the only force that's standing against evil. But that's not the only reason what makes Islam true, because another force could be standing against evil. So I personally believe he's been talking quite positively about Islam for a long time. And he's finally come to the realization that, I'm sure as a Christian, the Trinity, for a man like him, is very, we can say he's a quite logical man. I don't think the Trinity made any sense to him, to believe that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are not three divine beings, but one being in three persons. I'm sure that was quite confusing to him, because you never know Christians who come to Islam on a daily basis. I'm speaking to Christians specifically, when they come to and they have the same problem. The issue, the doctrine of the Trinity does not make sense. And something like that's irrational, it's going to cause logical people, or people who are just and have a sound mind, to reject it. So I believe many things played a role, and maybe he saw Islam, the way we live, our way of life.
Okay, so you don't think it has anything to do with him being taken off social media?
No, I don't think so, because the thing is, him being taken off social media, how is becoming a Muslim going to help him?
Because I think, maybe he wants the kind of views, because the way I see Andrew Tate, like
he still gets the views.
Yeah, he still gets the views, but I'm saying that what he represents, what force he represents in our society, and I'm sure you represent a similar force, with your YouTube presence and everything. But I think there is a certain problem in our society today, in the sense that there are too many answers and not a few questions. I think there are a lot of answers given out to us. So, for example, Islam is a path, Christianity is a path, and there are lots of different paths offered to us. And people are more than ever searching for that, searching for answers to questions that they have, but they can't have answers. So I think Andrew Tate represents that kind of phenomena in society where it's a split. It's split. There's a split. Technology development, all of our systems of belief have progressed so fast, have progressed too fast for people just to stop and think. Where do we class ourselves? What do we class our society today to be? It's not a religious society necessarily, like the West I'm talking about. It's not a religious society. It's almost a society in movement, a society at a fracture, where what we see around us is far more developed, and far more not developed, but far more. There's so much shown to us. There's so much all around our eyes. Every development is going up like nothing you've ever seen.
Well, I think the West is technologically developed and leading, but they are morally bankrupt.
Morally bankrupt. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So technologically, definitely, the West is thing, but morally they are absolutely bankrupt. Okay. They are absolutely lost, I would say. But
Okay, but who do you think out of the Muslim countries are morally not bankrupt?
I think there's a lot of countries that are Muslim countries that do. Like Qatar is a very good example.
Qatar?
Qatar. Yeah.
Why Qatar?
Well, there's people who are self-confessing to that. There've been girls. Ellie Mollison, I think that was her name. She went there with her dad. Her dad had to be a chaperone because she actually runs a movement so women can have, they can attend matches peacefully without being harassed, be sexually or catcalled or whatever it may be. So in Qatar, she took her dad because she thought the same thing would happen to what happens in England. Well, to her amazement, she said that it was better he didn't come because she had a fine example.
That's a great...
She wasn't harassed. She watched the match. She went about her business. She wasn't catcalled. There was no sexual harassment. There was no stalking. So to us, again, it just showed that the model that Islam has, the Sharia, is a working model.
Okay.
It's a pragmatic model and it's a working model. And a woman who goes from England to there just shows that, yes, maybe Qatar might not be technologically that advanced, but they are damn morally advanced. So that's just one example.
Morally advanced, but in the sense that how many migrant workers died building the stadium?
Well, there's a discussion on that, but at the end of the day, let's not show.
No, but I mean, that's moral.
Let's go with it.
Okay.
The point, no, of course it's moral. The point is this: the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that you pay the wages of the person before his sweat dries. So Islam is very clear on that. Now, the discussion on 6,500 migrant workers dying, Some
Perhaps
say
more.
some of them, huh?
Perhaps more.
From what I know, that's the peak of the numbers.
Okay.
It's less than that, so that's the peak. So, and again, still, one life is one life. I'm not here to like undermine it. I have no affiliation with Qatar.
No, of course.
The point is, though, some say, they are trying to ascribe like workers who had heart attacks and other illnesses who do not die on the work. They class that as, is it related to work? So there's discussion on it, but regardless, that to us, it's very clear in Islam that even a slave, like in Islam, has rights. The Prophet ﷺ said, feed them from what you feed yourself, and clothe them from what you clothe yourself. So the concept of slavery in Islam is not like the transatlantic slave, where they went through terrible, terrible stuff. In Islam, you have to look after your slaves, and if you hit your slave, you have to free them. So the thing is, let alone a worker, if a slave is treated like that, let alone a worker who's working for you. So Islam is very clear, and like I said before, is Qatar perfect? No, but it is leading in a moral sense.
Okay, but continuing that, do you know the system of kafala, sponsorship? Kafala, yeah. So
a lot of Arab countries have it.
Kafala, yeah. So especially in Qatar. So what will happen? I grew up in Dubai, so I know it's the same. It's the same way it works in Dubai. A lot of times I can say kafala, it works on both sides. So the employer is a good, morally good employer, and the person that works for him, there's a symbiotic relationship. But a lot of the time, kafala, what that is the employer taking away the passport of the worker, and you don't have a passport. And so what happens in Qatar with these migrant workers is they get promised very fantastic things, and then they get shoved building that. And in a sense, they're lied to. They're promised certain things. They're promised these rewards. Fantastic. The wages is one thing. The wages, they get paid way more than they do back at home. But do you think that is moral? Promising them something and not giving them, and in the process, they actually might die?
No, of course not. But first, we need to substantiate that is really happening. Like, does that happen?
It does happen.
We need to substantiate.
You can look it up. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence.
We need evidence to support it that this is happening. And if this is happening, again, we are looking at it from a micro lens. The Western world, for example, is indulged in so much immorality on different levels. Now, I'm not saying, like, for example, there is a great comparison between that. But the point is, first, is there any evidence that these workers have been promised and their passports are confiscated and they're stuck? And we need to substantiate that. So I want to substantiate it first. Okay. But until we substantiate that, we can talk about, in the Western world, for them to talk about, morality and, to follow their worldview, which is, like I said before, it's full of corruption. Okay. And especially with the atrocities they've done, especially in America, England,
I agree.
And who they supply arms to and where those arms end up.
I agree.
And millions of people have been killed. So they are the last person on this planet Earth to even come and question, because Qatar is just saying basically, this is the values that we live by, and you want to live by them, that's fine. We're not going to come and invade your country.
Exactly.
The West doesn't. The West usually invades countries to spread their democracy. There's no compulsion apparently, but they are invading these countries to enlighten them with the white man's burden. And we're here to save you. So
Kipling.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
okay. No, but what about Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia invaded Yemen.
Same, they're guilty. No, who's supplying them the arms?
No, they invaded. The men on the ground.
No problem. Who's supplying them the arms?
The West.
We're supplying them the arms.
But Saudi Arabia is a good Muslim country. It's moralistic, no?
Can we say that? Did I say that?
Oh, you said Qatar. You said Qatar.
Did I say that? Well, exactly.
But Qatar, other stuff is happening.
But I'm not saying like Saudi is a totally corrupt country. There are still, the Sharia is still there. There are good things about it. And at the end of the day, if you think about it, when it comes to rulership, you're never going to get someone that's going to be better. It ends up becoming worse. That's why with us, we believe not rebelling against the ruler. Yeah. We do speak out against it. There's a fine line. Speaking out against the evil and rebelling are two separate things. So we don't say, we should go and rebel against Mohammed bin Salman and overthrow him. Yeah. Even though he's committing atrocities. We don't say that because we believe the harm that might come, the new ruler might be worse.
Okay.
So we just say, we point out the mistakes. And I've done a lot of videos about Saudi Arabia, pointing these out. So yeah, it's in a nutshell, it's just,
But do you think that, like, you spoke about, white man's burden, colonialism, do you think that's only a Western thing?
Well, to be honest, look, it's Islam also has. We believe that we have superiority when it comes to the way of life. Okay. We have the Sharia.
Yeah, the Sharia.
The difference between us and the Western powers is that when Islam conquered, they never forced their way of life on the individuals. The Jews and the Christians could live by their own laws, having alcohol, drinking pork, having their monasteries. They were not infringed upon. And not only that, you would see that Islam conquered nearly large portions of the world, none of the wealth of those countries was sent back to Mecca. But
no,
it did not.
Because it went to Damascus instead.
No, it didn't.
That was the capital.
The capital of the Islamic world is Mecca.
But actually, what I'll say is that
the British, if you look at the Queen and those rubies that she is wearing, they was all sent back to where? England. Until this day, these countries are still paying.
No, I get you.
So what I'm saying is the difference is that the Western world goes, invades, kills innocent people, and tries to push their democracy down their throat. When Islam conquers that, it said you have a right to, and there's no compulsion in religion. We're not here to steal your wealth. Rather, they would reinvest in those lands to enrich them, rather than saying, oh, let's take it back to Medina and Mecca. That's the difference.
Okay, but what about taxation?
Yeah,
taxation began in Islam.
You would love Islam's taxation. The amount of taxation that I'm paying, believe me, mate, Islamic taxation all day, every day, 2.5%.
2.5%.
And for someone who's paying the jizya, I mean, what is it? Per soldier, per person, what?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, you know, we spoke
you
about.
Love the Sharia.
No, Sharia. My dad's a specialist in Sharia, but regardless of that, like taxation was initially it was an Islamic concept. So when they conquered territory, it would go back, because tax.
Of course, but so it wouldn't go back to Medina, Mecca. It will go back to, for example, Islam is ruling Egypt, and you have a governor there.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, that's going to go to the treasury, and that's going to be reinvested to expand. But we don't take those. You don't see, like, go to the British Museum and you see so much stolen. Yeah. Okay. So the point is, Islam doesn't have that, and it's a clear model. It's a clear model.
But the Islamic. I mean, the last time I remember the Islamic Empire was in the 8th century.
Yeah.
8th century. So I mean,
8th century to
8th century. But the Ottomans. What about the Ottomans? The Ottomans took. They pushed Islam on people.
Look.
That's the Islamic Empire. No, they didn't. When they invaded Constantinople, they made it Istanbul.
No. You see, you're missing the point. Conquering. Nobody said no one can have an issue with conquering. Look, conquering and forced conversions are two separate issues. Me taking old England and then saying, look, you guys can. You want to be a Christian? That's fine. Be Christian. We would like a tax jizya. No problem. You pay that tax, live in peace. Nobody's going to come and say
actually,
you have to follow our way of life.
The British Empire, a lot of it was done through indirect. So for a lot of the time in Britain, they didn't push Christianity down people's throats. When they invaded India, Crusaders were Crusaders. That's a whole different point.
Crusaders gave no chance for you to become a Christian. They bloody slaughtered you.
All I'm saying, I'm talking about you mentioned Britain. So Britain, a lot of the time, they ruled through indirects. You know, the Mughals, they allowed them to be Hindu. They had their own religion, as long as things were working towards the British way, which is exactly how you said Islam happened. You know, so it's the same exactly. They allowed Hindu. They allowed it.
That's all. Come on, man.
It's very different. They didn't come in as the British Empire didn't come in with their Christian swords and their Christian things.
That's their whole thing. They'll have missionaries.
No. Missionaries they had.
You see in Malawi, you see in Africa. These things happen. It was by they would go and send their missionaries to convert these people to Christianity because they believed these people were
savages,
uncivilized people. So that's why the white man's burden is to go and liberate these people from being savages, and that is continued till today. When they invaded Iraq, George Bush said, that I had a dream about my father. He was talking about his heavenly father. So it's a crusade. It was a crusade. And even Tony Blair, they went and killed 1 million Iraqis, innocent people, 500,000 Afghanis. Yeah. But nobody talks about it. It's just like
no, they did talk about it.
It's collateral damage. No, who's that woman?
There's a lot of backlash. I
forgot that woman's name. She was on TV and she said 500,000 Iraqi kids. She said, was the price worth it? She said it was worth it. It was worth it, man. 500,000 kids starved to death.
No. But this is. I get you. The West is wrong in that way. I'm asking.
The West is bankrupt.
I'm asking you. Do you really think that they're the only ones that are morally bankrupt? There is. Give me. Okay, but I'll ask you. We talk about Qatar. Qatar. We can 6,500.
Qatar. Look. To even talk about Qatar is a big insult to what we're talking about here. We're talking about a group of people who, of course, have it. How many countries has America invaded? How many innocent people have they killed? Yeah? So the thing is, to come here, it's like me, it's like you coming and talking about Hitler, and I go, yeah, but in Brazil, there's, the comparison.
No, so you compare, you're saying it was like Hitler.
The comparison it's well, Hitler killed 6.5 million Jews. Yeah.
Not only.
Which is still terrible. No, of course, World War
Not
I.
only.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, we're talking about something to that scale. And if I come here and say, yeah, but in Brazil.
No, I agree. But I'd say both they. If you look at the Ottomans, for example, if you look at the Mongolians, they were both Muslim. What did the Mongolians do? They came in, they burned everything.
No.
And they were Ilkhanates. They were Muslim.
No, the Mongols, they were literally.
They converted.
After. But even their conversion, even Taymiyyah, he does takfir of them, he calls them disbelievers. So some of them. So the thing is this. Yes, later on, after they killed so many Muslims, do you know how many Muslims they killed the Mongols? Later on, their children kind of came to Islam, kind of.
But even when they came over to Islam, they kept killing.
No. At the end of the day, that is their old belief system. Because nowhere in Islam does it tell you. It's very clear with us. There is no compulsory religion. We are not allowed to kill a person because of their faith. It's forbidden. Christian, Jew, whatever you are, we cannot come and kill you because you can't convert. It's forbidden. I can't force you to convert to Islam. It's not allowed. Okay. So we're allowed to conquer lands, but we're not allowed to convert.
Okay, but what about, we spoke about history, we spoke historically, both sides conquer whatever. What would you say about like the Islamic States or ISIS?
What would you say about
ISIS? No, I'm just asking you, like, do you not think that
what do you say about Israel? Sorry, I'll go on.
No, I'm okay. Thank you. Yeah.
What about Israel?
No, I'm asking you about ISIS. So,
and I'm giving you the same comparison, Israel.
No. So, Islamic State, ISIS.
Israel.
Let me finish, and then we'll talk about Israel. Okay.
No, they're both the same.
So, Islamic State is Israel?
Yeah, same. No, they're the same.
Okay. Same idea. No.
Kill innocent people.
No, I'm saying Islamic State.
One is state terror, one is...
No, but they expand the state. It's like ISIS.
Like Israel, still lands, yes.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, talking about, so
you
ISIS...
expands what?
ISIS, what was their point? What was their purpose? What was their purpose in terms of...
I don't know, misguidance.
No. They of course, they wanted to spread and convert, didn't they? They were misguided.
No, but it doesn't work like that. In Islam, it doesn't work. I made a group. Come and join me, guys. What's your goal? To take over the world. It doesn't work like that.
No, but they wanted to create an Islamic state. They wanted to create Jannah on earth.
No, you can't.
No, that was what they professed in 2014. If you watched it was lying, but they did. That was what they said.
You can say whatever you like. KKK. They say we're under the banner of Christianity. I mean, how many Christians?
No, but they actually did create a state.
No, they attempted to.
They attempted, but it survived for a few years.
Illegitimate. How many scholars?
But what's illegitimate though? Why is it?
No, it's not that simple, man. You can't just turn around and be like.
No, but tell me.
No, that's why they have something. There's principles. For example, when somebody comes and declares a khilafah, firstly, who are you? What are you about? You can't. Nobody can just turn around and be like, hey, today I've decided to khilafah. Come and join me. It doesn't work like that.
But they were backed by ISIS, backed by Qatar.
Who's backed by Qatar?
ISIS.
What's the evidence?
Look it up.
Huh?
Look it up.
And you brought up the point. You have to prove it.
What did they say?
Well, I don't have a friend to kill me.
But you brought the point. Surely.
No, I can't
prove a negative.
No, I asked him to. I asked him. No.
ISIS.
No, maybe not ISIS, but there are a lot of terrorist organizations backed by...
Israel created ISIS.
Israel created ISIS, hell.
Look it up.
No, tell me.
Look it up.
No, I'm telling you.
You need to look it up.
Well, okay, but this is a chain of reasoning.
That's
Chain of reasoning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my point.
But it's a chain of reasoning that...
No.
It's a chain of reasoning that you brought
let's talk
up.
about Israel now. You said we'll talk about Israel.
Okay, but Israel, I can say the same thing about Israel.
No,
if I don't believe in them, if I don't follow them.
Majority of the Muslims, they associate themselves from ISIS. Majority of the Jews that you go to ask them, they all support Israel.
Yeah.
So one does state terrorism, one does terrorism. Majority of the Muslims say nothing to do with Islam. We are against it. Majority of the Jews in this country, excuse that scumbag there, because that scum there. Go to him and say, do you condemn Israel? He say never. Majority of the Jews in this country support Israel. The difference is very clear. We condemn ISIS. Israel is supported by the Jews.
Okay, fine. Israel, like I'm not Jewish. I'm not
terrorist state.
I'm not terrorist state. Okay, why is it a terrorist state?
Is it a terrorist state? Do you accept it as a terrorist state?
I don't think so.
You don't?
I mean,
okay, they killed 67 kids last year.
Okay.
Is that terrorism?
Russia killed.
Is that terrorism?
Every state kills children.
No, that's
not every state, but like a lot of states do.
No, that's fine. Is that terrorism?
It's terrorism in and of itself.
Okay.
If you look at it, look at it.
Okay, that's fine. So
but I think there is a jump because I think the same argument, for example.
No, 67 kids have been killed. Do you condemn it?
I condemn it.
Okay. Do you accept that Israel has committed acts of terrorism towards these kids?
Acts of atrocities, yeah.
Terrorism.
I think, yeah, okay, acts of...
definition of terrorism? What is your definition?
I think it's the advancement of terror, the advancement of terror.
No. Killing innocent people due to political reasons.
Killing innocent people for political gains and political activism.
Yes.
Yes.
So
But Israel already is a state.
State terrorism.
But do you think Israel defines itself through killing children? Do you think that's how it defines itself? Through killing children?
Of course it's not.
So,
do you think
but how do terrorist organizations define themselves?
Do you think ISIS will come and say, we define ourselves as killing kids?
No. But they say they define themselves in their own manner. Yeah, I mean,
ISIS won.
That's just when you saw those videos cutting off infidels, kafirs. Well, how do they define themselves then?
I have to say the production was bloody amazing. If you think about it, the production of these cameras and the way, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what kind of production do you have? It looked like Hollywood. I'm thinking, I'll be honest, there was a big question mark. I was thinking, they're setting people on fire, and I'm thinking to myself, that's crazy. Like, to me, I don't know if I could believe that. Like, what I was seeing, the production ISIS had. Have you seen the videos?
It's crazy.
It was like freaking Hollywood.
Yeah, but it's crazy. But also, what did they do then? So that is purposely filming to promulgate and to forward a political purpose, isn't it?
Well, that's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
But I'm saying that when Israel kills kids, they don't define themselves, they don't define the state of killing.
Well, the difference is ISIS is very blunt with what they do, and Israel does it behind the scenes.
Yes.
So they say, no, we don't want to, but here we go, we're going to bomb some more kids. But we're not about that.
How many kids are... Okay.
That's the definition.
Yeah, I know.
No more free for violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, like the children.
Would you call Saudi Arabia a terrorist state?
Yes, any state.
Okay, so Saudi Arabia, where Mecca is a terrorist state.
Any state that kills innocent people, they are doing acts of terrorism.
Okay, fine. And under that definition, I can define every state in the world as a terrorist
100%.
state. Okay,
Like America,
then it loses.
England.
But don't you see, it loses its value if everyone's a terrorist state.
I don't care if it loses it.
So you're saying if
Saudi's a terrorist state then.
Look, I don't care.
They're all terrorist states.
Whoever, I don't
Okay,
care. The
fine,
point is this.
definition.
The point is this. The act is, that's the definition and that's the act.
Okay,
we're
I
not
agree.
Gonna say, we're not going to say, oh, we'll have to label everybody. So what? If the whole world is involved,
No, but then surely there should be a way of like defining it.
So what you're saying, there has to be a justification.
Not a justification.
Or
You're saying if everyone's terrorist, then nobody's a terrorist.
And let's call it collateral damage.
Okay.
It sounds better. No,
Okay.
it's not.
It's not collateral damage. It's not collateral. I'm not saying it's, but I'm saying that if you define every single
that's what they
state
will say.
as terrorist, because you can according to your measurements.
Okay, good. So what that shows is that then we can't do that. You're saying.
Okay, you can't do that because
Why not?
we need to differentiate.
Good. So
we need to differentiate. We need to dig a bit deeper,
Okay,
not stay on the
good.
surface.
So you're
dig a bit
saying-
deeper. So
Yes.
what differentiates Saudi Arabia from Israel?
Look, there you go. The point, what I'm saying is this. Number one, Saudi Arabia didn't go and steal anybody's land. Yes? Okay. They didn't do that. They didn't go and steal because of the so, yeah? The Jewish Israelis, Zionists, they have their decision-making factor based on a book. Yeah, and the Bible says this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to kick out these people who lived here for many years, and then we're going to kill them, we're going to bomb them.
Is that what it says in their book?
Well, yeah, in the book
It says that they're going to bomb them, they're going to kill
Samuel
them.
chapter 15, verse 2, yeah, they probably follow that, yeah? It was to kill men, women, children, yeah? Gaza is the biggest open-air prison.
No, I agree. The conditions are awful.
No, conditions are awful, bro. Come on, man. The point I'm saying is that we need to call it out. It's as simple as that.
No, I agree. I think we need to call out all forms, and I think also we need to kill out the 6,500 migrant workers that died in Qatar at the beginning of our conversation.
Look. Again, number one, if that happens,
There's actually, against that point, sorry, it's not all the migrants
by
that
the
work
way,
in the States.
let's wrap up on this
It's
one.
everyone.
We had a nice discussion.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap up.
Thank you for the discussion, Ali.
You can use it, the mic when we release it, or he'll try to send it to you.
Yeah. No problem, man.
Thank you.
One day to be true.